Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the OS Rick Project episode 83. How are you guys? Welcome back to the show. Uh, I wasn't planning on doing an episode, but a lot of stuff happened, and I figured I want to share with you guys before it gets too late. Um, I might break this down into two episodes because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on. I just want to keep these nice, short, and sweet, and just kind of want to focus on one thing before going too much. So, if you guys are looking at the video, you could probably see the gameplay. This is my wife's gameplay of Palworld. I was gonna say Pokemon with guns, but it's Palworld. It just came out early access, and we'll talk more about it. So watch that while we talk about what's going on, guys. Which that's going to be the subject of today's stuff. Guys, how are y'all? Welcome back to the show. How are y'all? What you been doing? What y'all been watching? What have y'all been playing? Hope everything is well. I know it's been really cold outside. I know this week was super cold. I was off Monday in observance for MLK, and Tuesday was cold. Wednesday, Thursday were okay, and then Friday was cold again, but it wasn't too bad. But it is what it is. This time of year in January, over here in the Texas Gulf Coast, it's this time of year where it really gets cold, January, February, and I'm just not a fan, especially if you work outside, because you're just exposed to the elements. It's not cool. What have I been doing, guys? I personally been playing Armored Core 6, a little bit of Street Fighter, some Blasphemous 2. I have some game footage of all that. I've been recording and saving. I'll have that playing later. I did want to tell you I've been reading this Berserk, Kentaro Miura. It is dark. If you like dark fantasy, I think you'll like Berserk, dude. This is book 1 of I don't know how many. It's huge. It's a lot. I want to thank my wife for getting that for me. And one of my new favorite mangas right now, Chainsaw Man. You can't see it because of the green, but Chainsaw Man. I've been really liking that one. I saw it when it first came out at the end of 2022, and then I started watching it again recently, and now my wife got me the mangas, so I'll be watching those, and I can't wait. I've been having a good time with that, so I would recommend those, guys. If you're an anime fan, I check them out. So, guys, let's get right into it, guys. Palworld. I don't know where this game came from. It came out of literally nowhere. By word of mouth. I saw people talking about it on Twitter. It's like, man, what's going on with this game, dude? Apparently everybody's playing it. And then I started talking to my wife about it, and she's like, what is it? I'm like, everybody's memeing it as Pokemon with guns. It's an early access game on Steam and on Xbox. Not available on PlayStation yet, or it will be. I'm not too sure. But basically, it's what you see. You're going out there collecting little monsters. It's a survival game. You craft, your little campsite, and you get materials. You make armor and weapons, and you get collect resources and stuff like that. And of course, you got your little monsters to help run the place. Your little pals to run that place. And man, that's one thing I do enjoy about Twitter, X, Reddit is, yeah, it's not a real place, and you get some garbage takes, but you get to see some garbage takes from all sorts of folks, and it kind of helped put things in perspective, right? Some people are like, yeah, this is just a clone of Pokemon. And then someone posts up, well, a lot of Pokemon designs look similar to Dragon Quest. And they do a side-by-side, and you're like, yeah. It does look a lot like some of Dragon. That maybe they were heavily inspired by. How about that, guys? We'll say heavily inspired by Dragon Quest, right? So, it's you look around, you can see some, where people got ideas from others and then integrated and made it their own. But apparently, it's been taken off. It looks like it was a tweet from Palworld. It said it is the #1 most played / top selling game in the world. Now, I'm gonna give just quick take, the hot take from my wife. I was watching her play, and I was getting her first impressions of what she thinks. And this is her gameplay, by the way, guys. So check it out. She says there's some bugs. There's some polish that the game does need some polishing. She did get stuck behind a wall. Sometimes the little pals glitch out and get stuck on things. Um, stuff like that. It is early access, so you kind of have to, in my opinion, guys, you got to be kind of careful with early access, especially how I think over last month or the month before we had that the day that almost came. What was it called? The almost tomorrow. That one game that came out. They got everybody's money, and then they said, "Oops, we're closing down the studio." And I'm not saying this will happen or it will happen to every early access game, but it is something that can happen, and it has happened. So also Baldur's Gate 3 was also in early access for 3 years, and it came out really well. So that's something you just kind of have to like roll the dice on what happens. But I would say, my take is, if you are this big and you got this much traction, I think you're probably doing something right. So hopefully these folks won't do like old boys and from the other game and take off. But the game is in early access, so just be warned. I personally tried not to get into early access games. The only one I remember, the only one I do remember getting into the early access was Hades from Supergiant Games. But of course, I have played stuff from Supergiant Games. I have played Bastion, and I have played, what's the one with the old girl? That was the other one. You play as a redhead, and you have different weapons. I played 2 other games before, and they had Pyro. I never played Pyro. But I was kind of sure about what Supergiant Games was about, and Hades. Hades is a great game, guys. Best game of 2020, if you ask me. Better than The Last of Us Part 2. Way better than Last of Us Part 2. Play Hades, guys. It's a real game. So yeah, that's the only game I actually ever supported in the early access. But so far, this game seems to be catching. It caught fire. A lot of people are talking about, it's a ripoff, it's a clone, it's Pokemon with guns. But the thing is, talking to my wife, she got curious because she wanted to see what the fuss was about, and see what people were talking, and she had a blast. She played it. Today, Sunday, is our off day. She played it several hours. She played it Saturday night and Sunday, and she had a blast. She recently picked up Hogwarts Legacy during the Steam sale. She played it, got to the create a character, finished that, and then never came back to the game. So it's kind of like, this game got her hooked right away. So there's something here to it. Of course, it varies. What my wife likes isn't what everybody else gonna like, but it definitely is getting a buzz. So from here, we just got to see where they go with the game. Hopefully it'll continue to get some support. Hopefully get some support and polish it and put it in a good spot, because I think what, not only is it because you have these little pals, these little critters, that very reminiscent of Pokemon, but it's like it's kind of what people would like, that Niantic, what they would like for Game Freak to do, is maybe kind of do something with the Pokemon, something in this vein, something more bigger than just capturing Pokemon. Because look, we've done that for several games now, right? And especially in the last Pokemon series, Violet and Scarlet, where they came out really buggy at launch. And even then, my wife played those games, and she completed Violet. She loved it. She had a great time with it. She said the gameplay was fun, but there was lots of performance issues with that game, which honestly, that shouldn't be a thing for Nintendo. Nintendo has they've been known to have their games to come out in a really good state, and I don't know why they felt like it was okay for them to do that with Pokemon. Obviously they wanted to cash in. Obviously, I want to say it's Pokemon is probably the biggest franchise in the world. But them going out and putting a game that isn't complete, I mean, completely wrong. So hopefully, Nintendo kind of realizes, look, maybe the next time we do something with that, we do something better, maybe innovate something. I mean, I thought they were gonna do more in the vein of what they did with Arceus. The open world one, the open world Pokemon game. I thought they were gonna do maybe a follow up or something, a sequel to that, or add on to it, or more DLC. But all we got was more DLC for Scarlet and Violet. That's what we got. That's what we got. So I really hope Nintendo kind of sees this, and instead of them doing their Nintendo thing of trying to cease and desist everything, maybe they'll see that and be like, you know what, we have something here. Maybe we could improve it and maybe borrow from these other games, because apparently this is taking off and it's huge. So what else, guys? Apparently it had over 1.2 million concurrent players on Steam. That's insane. That's insane. This game is blowing up huge. So, what are y'all's guys' impressions of the game? What do y'all think? Have y'all heard anything about it? Have y'all seen? Are you excited to play it? Is this kind of your type of game? Me personally, I'm not big into the whole survival genre. I mean, I did like Stardew Valley, but that's kind of more like a little farm sim, slice of life thing. You kind of just do your thing, and then not that many. I mean, you pass out in the caves. Maybe that's it. This might be like, it looks cool. I mean, I'll watch my wife play some more, but it's not really my cup of tea. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, guys, and elaborate and tell you what's going on, because yeah, apparently that game is really, it's taking off. It's taking off. Now we got to see how long does this last, right? I mean, is this going to be just a fad? They actually improve upon it? They actually get motivated? Because I believe these guys had another game that was released a couple of years ago and is still in early access. I think I saw it somewhere. I have to look it up. I looked it up, and I'll tell you guys later. But apparently these guys have already done some stuff before, so we'll have to see what's going on. What else, guys? Is that it? Is that, keep it just a nice short episode. I do want to talk about some other stuff. Okay, well, yeah, I think we'll just leave this one just for Palworld and leave it as is. I just want to focus on, because it's just been going crazy, been blowing up. PC, Xbox, I don't know what's going on PlayStation. No crossplay, early access. Still need some polishing, according to from what I've seen and what my wife's been playing. But overall, I mean, this game looks like it's taking off. I do want to talk about on the next episode, guys. Next episode. But what I do want to talk about is, I do want to talk about a little bit more about Final Fantasy Rebirth coming out soon. Ubisoft, I'm sure you guys probably have heard what those guys are doing. You will own nothing and be happy. The Klaus Schwab of video game developers. Street Fighter 6 is selling very well. I did want to talk about the developers direct from Microsoft, but I wanna go there, do some more research, and get some of my notes down, because I just kind of like made mental notes. I didn't really write them down, so like I said, I just want to talk about Palworld because this thing's going crazy. Anyways, guys, enjoy the game, enjoy the podcast. Thank you for listening. I'll be back later on this week with more podcasts to talk about the stuff that I just mentioned, and we'll go more in depth. But for right now, have a good week. Play some video games. Take care of yourselves. Have fun. And thank you for listening, guys. All right. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night. And I'll see you next time. Peace out. Oh, there it goes.